With the same measure that you measure others will be measured to you. These are the words of Jesus at the last sentence of the Gospel. The first reading is a very touchy situation and a touchy story. We know that Saul, the first king of the Jews, when David began to have popularity among the people and the people begin to like him, especially because he became a great warrior and he would make victory after victory. The king was a little jealous of this, and because of this he began to plan how to destroy him, because he knows that if he continues with this success, he will be the king, not his son Jonathan. And to avoid that Jonathan will not come after him as a king, he wants to go and destroy David. And today we heard that David and Saul were in search of each other. In fact, the king was in search of David. And it was night, and the king entered into a cave, and all the army around him were sleeping. And we know that at that very moment, one of the servants of David told him that the king is in the cave and everyone is sleeping. And we know that David went down and he took the spear and he took the piece of the cloak of the king, and in the morning he said to the servant of the king, "Come and take the spear and come to realize that I have the king in my hands tonight. God gave him to me. But because he is the anointed, because he is the one chosen by God through the prophet, I will not put my hands on him. Justice belongs to God." And that really threw some light on us, in other words, to see that if David, who really were being pursued by this king who really wants to destroy him, in return David did not want to destroy him, but let God be the one who removed Saul from the throne, and then David will succeed him. In the Gospel today we have a parallel to that reading, because we find Jesus speaking to us the first sentence, "Love your enemies." Now, I never see any Catholic that after you slap him on his face, he will stand to the other cheeks and say, "Slap me here now." So don't be, we don't want to be, people who are not, as we say, our feet touch the earth, because we are all human. And if you receive an offense, you begin to labor in your heart vindictive thoughts, and sometimes even you want to get even with the other person who did this harm to you. But then Jesus continued to say, if you love those who love you, there is no difference between you and the pagan, because even the pagans do so. But I am asking you to do a little more, in fact, something that is impossible for human nature, to love those who love you, who hate you. And why he's saying this? Because the life of a Christian is going to be a life of hate for other people who do not have faith. And because of this, they are going to do to these people that love Jesus and try to be, like him, forgiving even those who mistreat them. They are going to look like they are the sweepers or the carpet of this earth. But Jesus did not ask us to be that way. He is asking us that we need to let go, because the more you let go, the more peace enter your heart. Believe me when I say to you, this is the truth. The more you labor, the more you have grudges, and the more you have labor of bad thoughts and vindictive thoughts in your mind, the more that issue eat you alive. The more you let go, the more you live at peace. Why? Because, number one, you are not the agent of the action, you are the receiver. And number two, that person is going to be judged like you by God. And at the end, truth will surface, the justice will surface. And that's why it is very important what Jesus said today in the Gospel is something for our own benefit, that we need to let go. We need to let go of these things, because they will eat you alive. And once you have those thoughts and that vindictive things in your heart, that you want to be vindictive and you want to be even, and you want to do harm to other person who did harm to you, the more you are not at peace. And that peace does not come because you forgive him. That peace comes from above, who see what you have done, and he bestowed on you, although you are not the giver of the action but the receiver of the action, peace. That's what Jesus wants from each one of us. But then the last sentence of the gospel can be very, very, very serious, because by the same way we judge others, that same judgment will be done to us at the end of the journey. And that is really frightening, because if we are going to be so rigid with people who, because they did something stupid to us, we are going to find that that same judgment that we use for other people, at the end of the journey, God is going to use it for us. Remember, he said that let that abandoned peace fall into your lap, fall into your heart, fall into it within you, so that you will radiate that kindness and that forgiveness that God himself has bestowed and gave to his Son to bestow on the world. St. Paul today, he is speaking to us about two people, Adam and Jesus. He say Adam came to us in the flesh, and so everything that was about Adam was fleshy, earthly. Jesus came from heaven, and everything that Jesus did is earthly, is heavenly. And so, although we possess two of them in the same person that we are, we possess Adam because our nature is of Adam. So we also possess Jesus, because by baptism we become brothers and sisters with Jesus and sons and daughters of the Father. So now he said, if we have the two, one has to master the other. In other words, do not let the flesh overtake the spirit, but let the spirit overtake the flesh. In other words, now that you have been redeemed, let the redemption of Christ sink in you and act through you. And that applied to us in for the first reading and the gospel. Let not anger and not vindication and not grudges control your life, but let the spiritual life, that Christ prayed from the cross, forgive them for they don't know what, let that reign in your heart, so that your life will be a matter of grace and peace in this life, and hope and peace in the life to come. God bless.